And here we go. Spawning in the top left hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player. He is blue. He is representing Team Alpha X, now rocking that Mexican flag. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents, the other Mexican player. He is, of course, red, representing Team Timbers Esports, as well as macacos all over the world. It is JimRising. Oh my. All right. Here we go. So we are in a PvZ. I'm honestly surprised that Romanticide was let through the vetoes. I'm surprised that this wasn't like a priority for JimRising. JimRising, he struggles a lot against Skytoss. But to be fair, that isn't necessarily the kind of player that Pacomike is. Every now and then he will go straight into carriers, but he isn't really the player to go like double Void Ray into carriers with like Storm to protect. Like, that's just not really who he is. I'll be surprised. I mean, he can go for it, and I'll be surprised if he does. So we'll see how Pacomike plays this out. Again, I'm sure JimRising is a little bit more comfortable playing against Pacomike as opposed to someone like Shakti. As the game is slowly progressing, I also have to remind everyone that after the second semifinals, we will have a raffle. Darking was just sending me the list of players. And let's go. As so far, things are pretty standard. We of course have JimRising going across the map with these overlords. The reason why I said that I'm surprised that JimRising let this through the veto JimRising let this through the veto process is that it's pretty easy to expand here. It's pretty easy to get up to three bases. It's pretty easy to get up to 4 bases, and this is also a very large map. So there are a lot of Protoss players that love Romanticide because they can just, you know, expand, wall off, turtle up, and then eventually get into that sky toss. And it's a nightmare to deal with as a Zerg player, as you can imagine. So we'll see what Pacomike has in store for us. He is opening up with a Stargate. This isn't indicative that he will go double Stargate Void Ray, but it is the first step. So we'll see if he does commit to Void Rays, or if he will go for Oracles instead, or if he just gets a couple of Void Rays and then just goes straight into a Gateway focused army. Oh my god. What? JimRising is going for a very fast burrow. Is this a misclick? Did he mean to go pneumatize Carapace, or is this intentional? Oh my god. As Pacomike does pick off a Creep Tumor. Nicely done by Pacomike. And we'll see what JimRising has in store for us. We'll see what the plan is, because there's no other tech. There's no Roach Warren, there's no additional gases. This is just straight Ling burrow. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What is this? We'll see. The Lings are coming out here for Jim. Obviously, he can use Burrow to like maybe burrow underneath the third base to delay an expansion. Is that the plan? Is that all he wants to do? It is. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So this will delay the third, especially because there's no robo, so there's no detection. But there is a Stargate, so he can, Pacomike can chrono out an Oracle to expand eventually, as Pacomike is going to try and take another base. Emphasis on try. Oh my god, and the Lings do rush in and cancel and deny this by killing the probe, and there's still no detection. I don't think Pacomike knows. I don't think he's realized yet. He's backing up a lot though, and this is what I was worried about. Oh my god. So Pacomike did go for a very fast Fleet Beacon, and this is what Pacomike did yesterday. He tried to do it against Ryu, and Ryu slapped him down. Ryu denied this completely. Pacomike is going for a Fleet Beacon, and he is going for double Stargate Tempest, even prioritizing that Tempest upgrade. With this, if this goes unscattered, Pacomike can go across the map with his Tempest, sneak into the main base, and destroy the hatchery. And maybe even deal more damage than that. He will have enough enough Tempest to one-shot queens. So this can deal a lot of damage if it goes unscattered. The problem is that even if it does go unscattered, like, it's really difficult to pull off. And I don't know if Jim is even going to give his opponent enough time. He's already making a decent amount of roaches. We have a lair on the way. I imagine Jim is going to want to be aggressive with all his queens and roaches. We'll see how Pacomike is going to be able to pull this off. Again, when Pacomike did this yesterday against Ryu scattered this very early, and Ryu was able to go straight into a Spire and go to Corruptors and shut this down. JimRising still hasn't scouted this. This is best case scenario for Pacomike. Meanwhile, I was waiting for Pacomike to make an Oracle. Pacomike just made a cannon to deal with it, so, you know, he does eventually expand, but he was stuck on 2 bases so much longer than he wanted to be. Like, look at that bank. Like, oh my god. He wanted to expand so much sooner. Meanwhile, the roaches of JimRising are pushing out on the map, which is honestly surprising to me, and it does get revealed by the Void Ray. The problem is that again, normally there's a bunch of Void Rays to defend, but there are Tempests instead. We'll see if Pacomike can even hold on to his third. Meanwhile, welcome El Ten Azul. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for your love and support as the Roachling does hit the third base, and there is nothing here to defend. The Tempests are forced to reveal themselves, but it's not even going to be enough. The third, it has to be cancelled. Cancel! Ah! It was killed, not cancelled. The base goes down, and JimRising, he sees the Tempest. He throws down a Spire. He is going into Corruptors. Now Pacomike is on a timer. He has to go now. I'm sure he wanted to wait maybe for like another round of Tempest or 2, but he has to go across the map. He has to deal some damage, and it's looking unlikely, but we'll see. We'll see if he can make something happen with this. Oh boy. As Pacomike is going across the map, this will get spotted by the creep. There are plenty of queens here. The Spire isn't done yet, so there aren't Corruptors to defend. So again, Pacomike can deal some damage, but you know, again, he's on the timer. He has to do it. He has to do it now. He has to be fast. And when he's done, he has to recall the hell out. Otherwise, he's going to lose his Tempest. Okay, 1 queen goes down. Oh, that's it so far. The third is under threat. But yo, Pacomike, he's going to be a little bit more decisive than this. He takes out another queen. 3 queens go down, 4 queens go down. It's about to be 5 and then 6. I said and then 6. There we are. No, not quite. Oh, and now he can start fighting away at this third base, but you know what? The Corruptors are out. The time has run out. Here come the Corruptors. Pacomike, he does kill the base, but mate, you gotta recall. It's too late. He loses. He's going to lose every single one of his Tempests. And now I have to ask you, was it worth it? He did kill the third base very quickly, and there is value in killing a hatchery like this, as well as value in killing all those queens. The problem is that now the Void Rays are out. What is his response? He has Blink on the way. He only just started Blink. He has all these gateways on the way, but Jim, he comes in, he focuses down the Nexus, and the Nexus will die. It's dead, mate. It's gone. F's in the chat. And the problem is that Pacomike's Nexus is so much more valuable compared to that third hatchery of Jim. Jim, he's just double expanding. He doesn't even care. He already had a 4th, so he could just, you know, transfer his workers over there. He didn't. He's long distance mining, but he could have transferred over here to the 4th. And the damage isn't done yet. Like, as in, these Corruptors, they kill a Nexus, he can keep going. He can maybe kill something else as well. Oh god, Pacomike has to be so careful with his army movement to make sure that nothing really gets picked off. Oh, as Jim, he wanted the Nexus a second time. A little bit too greedy, he does get forced back, but he is keeping the attention of Pacomike here to the south, where JimRising is hitting with his roaches and links to the north. Storm is not done. These Tempests, they're not really accomplishing too much here. He's forced to turn them into Archons. He does come in with his army, but his army doesn't look that intimidating. It is 1 Void Ray, 2 Archons, and a bunch of Zealots. The Zealots, they get in and they get on top of some of the army, but he is forced back. God, JimRising trading so well here. Meanwhile, the Corruptors dive in once again to try and Caustic Spray down that Nexus, but Pacomike did leave some Stalkers here. He was able to defend on both fronts. Honestly, I'm impressed. Nicely done by Pacomike. He does survive. At the same time, he's going for a bit of a Zealot run by towards this newest base of JimRising, but the reinforcements are here. JimRising does show off his Hydras. And his Lurkers. Oh my, that is a lot of Lurkers on the way there for Jim. 9 Lurkers coming. And I'm concerned for Pacomike. Paco, he does have High Templar. He has Storm. And with Storm, he can go toe-to-toe with the Hydras. I don't know if he has what it takes to go toe-to-toe with Lurkers. Luckily for Pacomike, Hive isn't done yet. So the Lurker range isn't done yet. So Pacomike can still use High Templar to defend, but at a certain point, you do need air. You do need like carriers to help deal with the Lurkers. You do need Tempests. You need Disruptors. Oh boy. Meanwhile, oh god! Oh, the High Templar, they take 1 bile to the face. If that was 2 biles, all 4 High Templar would have gone down. Please, please, Pacomike, you have to protect your High Templar a little bit better than that. Meanwhile, the Hydras are pushing in towards the 3rd base. Every single storm was used. The majority of the Hydras went down, but you know what? The Lurkers are the real danger here, and there is nothing to stop them from slowly pushing on forward. Pacomike, he has to rotate his army back towards the north, and even if he does, oh my god, there's even this small force here attacking the newest base of Pacomike. Does Pacomike even have detection? He does. He does have detection. The Archons and the Zealots are getting on top of the Lurkers. He does force JimRising back. At the same time, there is a Zealot run by here towards the south. Unfortunately, it was an A move, so they are chasing the Hydras instead of focusing down the hatchery. In the end, Pacomike will defend, but no! The Nexus! Save it! Blink, Papi, blink! Oh god, he blinks forward and he just barely keeps the Nexus alive. Ay. Meanwhile, Zealot run by does go back, but it does get cleaned up. Pacomike, he survives, but this Nexus is so low. I'm so concerned for the health and safety of this Nexus. Someone get this man some shield batteries. He has 1 on the way, mate. You need more than that. You need some shield batteries, you need some cannons, you need everything you can to keep this Nexus alive. Meanwhile, we have Jim once again looking to hit that northern base with his roaches and his Lurkers. The wall is not done yet, but there are storms available. Show me them storms. Beautiful storms on top of everything here, on top of the center of the army. The Lurkers, they are still left untouched though. I spoke too soon. The storms do land on top of the Lurkers, but there's not that much army here. Like Pacomike, he needs more than this. He does warp in a wave of Zealots, and with these Zealots, it looks like it may be enough to hold on. There we go. The rest of the army does come in, does rotate to the north. And finally, we see some Immortals on the way. Like, this is what he's missing. He's missing some robo units, you know, whether it's Immortals, whether it's Disruptors, whatever it is, he needs something to really solidify his army. Is it too late though? We'll see, because JimRising, once again, he's splitting up his army. He's pushing here towards the south and north at the same time with his Lurkers, with his Vipers. I say Vipers, his Viper has 0 energy. Oh god. Oh my god, he wants to focus down the Nexus. Can he get it? He gets the Nexus. He's going to lose the army, but it may be worth it. At the same time, the Lurkers, they dive on in, looking to just eviscerate this mineral line. They do take a lot of storms to the face, but they are trading so well here, these Lurkers are. And sure, the Lurkers will get cleaned up, but 11 probes go down, and they take out so many gateway units. And we can see that JimRising, he has been trading, and he's been killing army, he's been killing bases, he's been killing probes, and sure, he's been trading a lot of his army, but he can afford it. Like, JimRising has his side of the map. Like, he's got all these bases, and he's been left alone. Pacomike, he's been trying to go for some Zealot run-bys, but not enough, right? Like, these Zealot run-bys just haven't dealt anywhere near as much damage as what JimRising has been doing to Pacomike. And we see that in the difference of supplies. JimRising is maxed out. Pacomike, he's down 70 supply. He's struggling to defend 2 bases at once. And at a certain point, JimRising, he's just going to consolidate his entire army, just push at 1 point, and Pacomike will not have enough to hold. To do so, he needs more High Templar. He needs as much AoE as possible. And maybe he has it. Here we go, as JimRising is trying to hit once again at the 3rd base and the 4th base at the same time. Storms do land, but High Templars do fall at the same time. More storms are landing on top of the Hydras. The Hydras are going down, but they're trading. 2 High Templar go down. Oh god, these are High Templar that Pacomike cannot afford to lose. Oh, but so far so good. Pacomike is able to just barely, with the minimal amount of units, he holds on. And yo, look at how much supply JimRising just lost. JimRising though, he has a bank, and that's the big difference. He has a massive bank. There it is. 14 lurkers are on the way, and this could be the nail in the coffin. 14 lurkers. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. It's going to take so many zealots and archons and immortals to really break through and get through all of that. Finally, we do have zealots going for another run by, but mate, we got spines here. We got a spine forest or a spine park, and they deal with these zealots. There are not enough zealots to break through. Finally, Pacomike is pushing out onto the map, but he's got to be careful, mate, because there's a lot of lurkers. There's a lot of lurkers out there. Oh boy. And here we go, the lurkers. They want the High Templar. They want them. Oh god, they burrow. 1 High Templar goes down. Oh, 2, 3 go down before a single storm goes off. Ay, 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 only 1 storm left. GG gets called. JimRising takes game number 1, pulls apart his Protoss opponent. Wow. Pacomike was trying to be a little bit cheeky. As a reminder to everyone, Pacomike started off with Tempests. And sure, he dealt some damage there, but as we all saw, you know, the Corruptor counterattack dealt even more damage. Unfortunately, Pacomike just wasn't able to hold on. After that initial loss, after losing all those Tempests, and his delayed 3rd base as well, like, he really struggled to keep up with JimRising to continue to defend. Honestly, it's very impressive how much Pacomike was able to defend for as long as he did with as little as he had, but eventually he did break, and JimRising takes the first game. And here we go, the lobby has been made. This time we will be going on a much newer map. But we will see. We will see how we end up here. Again, I'm honestly a little bit surprised this made it through the vetoes. Oh boy, oh boy. As we are loading in to Beckett Industries for game number 2. Will Pacomike be able to hold here? Again, Beckett Industries is the new submarine. It is the shortest rush distance map on the map pool. There are speed zones throughout the entire center of the map. Pushes can come incredibly quickly. We'll see. We'll see how Pacomike does here. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Beckett Industries LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player. He is blue. He is representing Team Alpha X, and he needs your energy right now as he is down in this series. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Beckett Industries LE, we have the Mexican Zerg player. He is representing Timbers Esports as well as Macacos all over the world. It is JimRising. And thank you so much Nijanix for the raid. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. For those coming from Nijanix's stream, I hope you had a good stream. And we are here, we are casting Battle of the Americas. We are in the first semifinals right now. Some Mexico on Mexico action. Pacomike versus JimRising. This is game number 2. Game number 1 was on Romanticide. JimRising was able to pull apart Pacomike. To be fair, Pacomike was also being very cheeky. He went for a very quick fleet beacon straight into Tempest. Again, something we don't see too often, but it did not work against Jimena himself. Boy, for those wondering, Battle of the Americas is a weekly StarCraft 2 tournament where we feature players from North America and Latin America. So, of course, like these two players, we have Mexican players as well as some players from the United States. In the upper half of the bracket is Nina, of course, one of the best American Protoss players out there. Eventually we will get into the upper semifinals, but right now we are still in the lower semis, and we'll see if Pacomike can bring it back. Again, I am a little bit concerned for Pacomike just because of the map. Again, there are plenty of speed zones throughout the center of said map, and JimRising can use them to hit even faster. We'll see if maybe the layout of this map is a little bit easier to expand and get 4 bases up and running. You could argue that, you know, in that respect it can be a little bit similar to Romanticide, where there are plenty of choke points here at the 3rd base location and more choke points here at the 4th. So it looks relatively simple to maybe wall off, as a Protoss player would love to be able to situate themselves and expand and get 4 bases up and running. But we'll see. We'll see if the game does go on that long. As right now things are pretty standard. JimRising going up to his 3rd base. Meanwhile, Pacomike does scout this with his adept. He also did go for a probe scout. He saw that there wasn't anything too crazy going on. No early gases, no early lair or anything like that. So far things are pretty standard by JimRising. This time JimRising does not get a fast burrow, which again he did do in game 1, which was crazy. You just don't see it nowadays. Meanwhile, the adept doesn't commit to the shade, was just checking and confirming the gas count for JimRising, and the Pacomike, he is of course going for that Stargate opening straight into Void Rays. Oh boy, we'll see. We'll see what he does from here. Is he going to go double Stargate? Ooh, he goes into an Oracle from here. Interesting, looking to deal some economic damage across the map after said Void Ray. The Void Ray, of course, the main goal of it will be to deny the scouting, to be able to deal with all these overlords before they get into the base. As one overlord does go down, Pacomike is looking to expand. There are a decent amount of lings out, so JimRising, he is just checking the 3rd base, sees, hey, you haven't taken this one, does move towards the south, but the SimCity is just barely on point, so JimRising cannot stop it from going up. Also, hello, Grape Dactyl and Getcha. Sorry, oh no, not again! Pacomike, please! There it is, a Fleet Beacon is on the way, as well as the 2nd Stargate. So, we'll see if he's gonna go fast Tempest again. I hope not, personally, but we'll see. Maybe instead he'll go for Void Rays and Flux Veins. I doubt it, because he is not producing from his Stargate, so he's waiting for the Fleet Beacon to finish up. It's looking like Tempest again. Or are we going to see an old... Nah, yeah, there it is. I was going to be like, maybe we'll see an old school Pacomike style where we see carriers come out instead of Tempest, but nope. We see Tempest on the way. We even see the Tempest upgrade. Of course, for those wondering, this is a relatively new upgrade that was introduced maybe a year and a half ago, where Tempest now have this new upgrade where they can deal bonus damage to buildings. As we saw, it only took a couple of volleys for 5 Tempests to take down a hatchery. So they can snipe hatcheries pretty quickly. 5 Tempests can one-shot a queen as well. So a lot of damage can be done. Oh, but it gets scouted. Paco, please. Where's the Void Ray? What are you doing here? Void Ray, you had one job. All you had to do was patrol the main base to make sure an Overlord didn't get in. Shame on you. What are you doing out here? What are you doing? Trying to pick off a gas? Mate, go home. God damn it. Well, as a result, JimRising, of course, he is going for a Spire. Even before the Spire comes into play, he's pushing across the map with Roaches and Lings. He does break into the natural. Thankfully, the force field was on point, but now the Roaches, they are free to just go ham at the third base. There is a Void Ray here to help defend and a shield battery, but, oh god, it's not enough. The Roaches, there are far too many of them. Thankfully, Pacomike, he does pull the boys quick enough and he does not lose any probes. Honestly, I'm impressed. Yeah, honestly, like, I'm impressed at Pacomike. I'm surprised that he didn't lose any workers there. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a Ling run by. Ooh, almost this. Oh, no! Force field! Puppy! Ah! The Lings, they get into the main base. They go past the Sentry and the Adept. They get in. They're gonna deal some damage. Meanwhile, Pacomike, he's like, yo, I gotta go. Lings, they're in the main, they're in the third base. At the same time, Pacomike is sending his Tempest across the map. He wants to kill that lair. Can he get it? Unlikely. With 12 Corruptors on the way, we shall see. The Lings, they slip on in. 11 probes have gone down. Eventually, they will be cleaned up by the Void Rays and the Zealots. But the damage has been done. I have like 17 probes go down. Meanwhile, the Tempests are here. Can they do it? The answer is no. They do not get the lair. This investment was for nothing. One Tempest goes down for free. And now JimRising, he has the air superiority. He has the control in the skies. He's going across the map with his Corruptors. He wants to chase down those Tempests. And this is a disastrous start by Pacomike. Again, Pacomike, he keeps doing this build. I question it every time. Here come the Corruptors. They get into the main base. They focus down the Nexus. And unlike the Tempest in the main of JimRising, these Corruptors will get the Nexus of Pacomike. Because Corruptors are that goddamn good. At the same time, we got Roaches hitting the third base of Pacomike. Where is the army? He's trying to warp in Zealots as fast as possible. His Void Rays are busy trying to deal with the Corruptors. Oh no! And JimRising, he's pulling the attention of Pacomike here to the third. His Corruptors, they were looking to dive into the main base once again, but they did not find anything there. It looks like Pacomike has been able to hold for now. Oh, I spoke too soon. The Tempest! Ah! One Tempest gets picked off for one Corruptor. Totally worth it for JimRising. At the same time, the Roaches are still here pushing into the third base. This time there is a ground army, so Pacomike can go toe-to-toe with these Roaches and he will be able to defend. At the same time, Roaches do sneak into the natural base. More damage is being done. The Void Rays will clean this up, but at the same time, the Corruptors are going in. They're diving on top of the Tempest again. Oh god, almost gets another Tempest. JimRising, he's all over the place. He's trying to pull Pacomike apart, and honestly, he's doing a damn good job at it. Meanwhile, JimRising is expanding, taking another base. No, the Corruptors are back! Oh, thankfully there are not enough Corruptors this time. Enough of them were thinned out, where this time the main base will survive. And JimRising, eventually he is forced away. And yo, interesting scenario we're in. JimRising, he hasn't been making any more Corruptors. There are only 4 Corruptors left. He is instead going for Hydras, but you know, his base is still vulnerable and there are still Tempests alive, so the base will go down. At the same time though, Hydras are counterattacking at the third base with the Corruptors as well. We need to see a recall. Give us the recall. Puppy, please. There it is. Recall does get used. Can he save? Can he hold on to the third base? Overcharge is being used to try and keep the Nexus alive. Oh god, but the Nexus is gonna go down. Please, please, Puppy, you need to take down the Corruptors. But he's trying to deal with the Hydras. The Hydras will fall, but it was totally worth it because the third Nexus does fall to the Corruptors. Ay. Pacomike, he's just he's just struggling to hold on to his bases. +1 fire attack is about to finish up, but what does that really mean? What does it really come down to? Meanwhile, JimRising, his economy has been left unchecked, unhindered. He has Hydras, he has Corruptors, he has Roaches. He's chasing down the army of Pacomike, and this is all Pacomike has left. Another Tempest does fall. We got a couple of Zealots to help defend. There are no shield batteries. Oh god, Pacomike, he's trying to hold on here at his third base, but there are just so many Hydras. GG gets called. And JimRising takes the series 2-0. My condolences to Pacomike fans. Pacomike played well today. And hopefully he learned his lesson. Hopefully he stops going for the goddamn 2-base Fleet Beacon into Tempest. It just doesn't work. I haven't seen it work. It's cute if it goes unscattered, but more often than not, it gets scattered. Like, more often than not, like, Pnumatized Carapace gets researched, you know, an Overlord or an Observer, or sorry, an Overseer, something dives in and the Zerg player is able to see it. And once the Zerg player sees it, it doesn't take that much to come up with a response. Throw down the Spire, get a bunch of Corruptors, defend, counterattack. We've seen it time after, like, we saw it this entire weekend. Pacomike, he seems to have, you know, enjoyed that build, and that's why he came out with it this weekend. But unfortunately, it's just didn't really work out for him.